Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel where we will be discussing and reacting to the financial ups and downs going on in our economy, where we will also be talking about personal finance here and there, and where I will be dropping financial gems that I think we all can benefit from here and there. So, if that is something that you like, please be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below so that I can hear your perspectives as well. So let's get into the video. A government shutdown may be looming.
Your insurance is about to triple. And with this government shutdown that they are threatening at this point, to stop it, they are saying that they are going to permanently fire hundreds of thousands of federal workers to scare people into voting for this. This is how serious this is, y'all. And if you got a chance to watch the clip on CNN, I'm not a big CNN watcher, but I do try to watch clips here and there. Republican Mike Lawler was on there just talking. He was refusing to answer the reporter's questions. And the reporter's question was asking, what happens if this shutdown is imminent? And it does happen. What can stop it on both sides? Now, here's the thing. The Republicans, of course, are trying to say the Democrats are not trying to reach across the aisle or whatever, and they're trying to cause all these issues. That's not what's happening. The Democrats are like, look, we are absolutely trying to reach across the aisle, but this is what we're trying to do here. We need a $1 trillion reversal of the Medicaid cuts. Now, here's the thing. People are like, oh, I don't have Medicaid, blah, blah, blah. No one was abusing Medicaid in the way that they were saying that it was being abused, because they can't even understand how Medicaid is even applied for, how it's used, and how it affects regular hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, just all types of different programs. So again, if Medicaid is cut, you're going to see a spike in your own regular insurance. And you're also going to, if your doctor's office is still even open, please understand Medicaid keeps the lights on in your doctor's office. Even if you don't use Medicaid, keeps the lights on at, your dentist's office, keeps the lights on at your pharmacy. These things matter in all of our communities. Now, they're asking for that. They're also asking for them not to cut kids' cancer research. Cancer research for the children. Don't cut it. Because, they're family first, right? They're trying to repackage that big, beautiful bill as, the America workers first, family first, whatever. They're trying to make it seem like they're doing, things for families when they're absolutely harming families. Now, here's the other thing. They're also asking for the ACA tax cuts. Remember, or tax credits. Remember, we talked about this. If those tax credits expire at the end of this year, that means premiums on the marketplace are going to fucking skyrocket, and people will not be able to pay for insurance. That means hundreds of thousands, millions of people will be without insurance because it will be unattainable. They'll be priced out. So they're trying to, threaten, well, if we don't get 7 Democrats to sign with this, we're going to fire all, hundreds of thousands of. Call all of your representatives, because they need those federal workers just as much as we need those federal workers. Don't let them scare us into saying, oh, well, if we don't, they need those workers too, because their shit doesn't get pushed through if they don't have them. And they can call in as many scabs of all those little applications that they, took in during his last presidency, or when he felt like he won, when he really didn't. It doesn't matter. They won't be able to do the work. So here's the thing. To put this into perspective, let's say you have a couple making about $84,000, a senior couple, 55 and up, on their way to retirement. Now, their current insurance is about $7,000. Without the subsidies, that is the ACA tax credits, that is, Medicaid being able to still be in place, you're looking at $20,000 just for medical. They ain't ate nothing. They ain't went nowhere. They ain't paid no mortgage. They ain't did nothing. That's just medical. And then because fewer people will be, utilizing insurance because everybody else will be priced out, it's going to go up another $4,000. This is what this boils down to. It doesn't matter if you don't have Medicaid. It does not matter if you don't know anyone who uses Medicaid. Medicaid keeps the lights on because there's more people on Medicaid than, regular subscribers. There are far more things being paid for Medicaid than there are for private insurance users. And they know this. This is why they're trying to kick everybody off. So then that way it's either you pay a ton or it's their way or no way. That's why he was talking through this and he knows, these are Biden spending. It's not. They have spent far more than the program is even allotted for. And we have seen that in Georgia. Understand, if these Democrats side with them and those ACA tax credits go away, this is what we're looking at. If we do not get this reversal of, this Medicaid cut of $1 trillion from the Energy and Commerce Bill, because again, you remember how they try to hide it in there. That's where it's at. And they say they're not cutting Medicaid. They're absolutely doing it. But this is where it's at. This is what we're looking at.
All right, so listen, October 1st is right around the corner. And the U.S. government is on the edge of another shutdown. But this time, it's not the everybody gets furloughed, come back later type of deal. Nah, your boy DT is telling White House employees to start writing reduction in force plans. That's government talk for layoffs, like permanent job cuts. This ain't just about government workers missing a paycheck. It's about millions of black and brown families depending on government assistance. Housing, food benefits, healthcare. When the government shut down, our communities feel it and get hit the hardest. And now we got Democrats saying that they're not budging on helping with healthcare and reform programs. Republicans saying that it's about cutting spending. But if they don't agree by next Tuesday, then thousands of people can lose their job. For real, and not just for a couple weeks. Bottom line, this ain't a game. Watch where this goes. Because a government shutdown that leads to firing, that's new. And it's really going to hit home for a lot of us.
What would you do if your paycheck suddenly stopped? With the government shutdown on the way, this is exactly why it's important to have a savings account. A savings account is a non-negotiable. A government shutdown is when Congress cannot agree on a budget. If Congress cannot agree on a budget, then they're put into overtime. They're on it's football season. They're on an actual timeout. So federal workers can actually miss paychecks because of this. This can cause delayed services for us. We've had shutdowns before, but right now life is expensive. Imagine missing a paycheck. And even if you don't work for the government, clearly emergencies happen and things are out of your control. Right now, we cannot control what the government does. We cannot control Congress. Savings account is literally your only safety net, even if you're a government worker, which is scary. And just to put it into perspective, the longest government shutdown was 35 days from 2018 into 2019, and Donald Trump was the president. You know who's president now? Donald Trump. Back in 2019, they had disagreements about the wall. In 2025, there is a lot more that they are disagreeing about. Needless to say, you need a savings account. You never know what can happen to your job, to the world, to the country. Be frugal, y'all.
I know some of y'all don't believe that violence is the answer, but I think we have arrived at a point in our society where if violence is not the answer to combat violence, and I mean violence through police violence, through military violence, through legislative violence, if we are not ready to respond in kind, then what we need to start doing is stop spending our money. We need to stop spending our money, stop going to work. And that will only be effective if everyone does that. Because it's starting to feel like the only thing that these people understand is money. And we need to stop giving them access to our money and access to our labor. We have to stop pretending like what we're experiencing is normal. It's a very deliberate attack on our mental and physical well-being. They're trying to get us used to the presence of police, to being surveillance. They're trying to get us used to the president being able to take away our rights at a whim's notice. You have the Congress now considering legislation that will enable for Marco or Rubio to be able to take our passports if we exercise our Second Amendment. The quote unquote party of law and order only believes in law and order when it benefits their political ideology, when it enables for them to extract more labor and resources from our communities, while at the same time over-policing us and telling us that we can't actually exercise our constitutional rights. So if we're going to push back against the tide of fascism in this country, we need two things to happen. One, the Democrats need to shut down the government. Right? They need to not allow a budget to pass in Congress unless we get what we want. And we as average citizens need a general strike. It is not only necessary, it is required if we are going to have any semblance of freedom moving forward.
So by now, you guys probably know that a government shutdown is looking more and more probable by the day. And it's even more so looking like that because of today when Donald Trump canceled his meeting with Democratic lawmakers over their, quote, unserious and ridiculous demands. Which I don't know how ridiculous it really is to want to prevent millions of low-income people from losing their health care through Medicaid, or how ridiculous it is to want to expand or extend the subsidies through the Affordable Care Act to make their premiums not jump up hundreds of dollars coming up soon. Because people can't afford that, okay? And I'm tired of having this argument and this conversation because when it comes down to it, the morally correct thing to do is to give everybody insurance, whether they have enough money or not. It shouldn't be a question of how much money you have, ever. Just like housing, just like food, healthcare, housing, food. Those three things should just be something that is so easily accessible that it is ridiculous to even think that somebody couldn't have it. And I know some of you smart asses out there might be like, oh, it's not that hard now. You just got to get a job. That's it. I'm so happy for you that that's been that simple for you. It's not the case for everyone else. And the fact that you're refusing to see that tells me that you're very, very selfish, because nobody deserves to die because, like I said, because of how much money they do or do not have. This is also the Medicaid cuts and stuff that's going to affect rural hospitals, if you didn't know that. So when those rural hospitals run out of funding and they shut down, everybody who lives in that surrounding area who that hospital served now has to travel further for medical attention, which could be the difference between life and death. So statistically speaking, a lot of those rural people probably voted for Trump. So because of him, you or a loved one could potentially die because you couldn't make it to a hospital in time. Think about that.
So the government might shut down on Tuesday, September 30th. And honestly, as a government employee, I'm to the point where it's just like, do it. Like, do it. Like, at this point, how many continuing resolutions, how many scare tactic pranks, how many, oh, we're going to make it painful. He just came out and said, oh, we're going to make it the worst of the worst. We're going to make it painful for people. At this point, I'm calling your bluff. For real. Because a couple of months ago, you fired a lot of people and now you want them back. So at this point, I'm calling your bluff. Go ahead, shut it down. Shut it down. Give me a little vacation. Yes, it's upset not being able to get paid. But at the end of the day, you're not about to keep telling me like a ragtail doll. Okay? Shut it down. Thank you.
I used to work for the federal government. I loved the work I did there with my patient population. My team was great. But I had to make the hard decision to leave because my anxiety was constantly at an all-time high, worrying about the reductions in force, the mass layoffs, the government shutdowns. I just felt like constantly in fear for my job and income and stability. And so I had to make the decision to go somewhere more stable to me. And I just want to say, if you're a federal employee right now with the looming government shutdown and threats of additional mass layoffs, I am sorry that you're going through this again. I empathize with you. I hope things get figured out soon. And I, hope you have a good Thursday.
Well, there you have it, guys. Please be sure to comment down below your thoughts and opinions, and so that we can discuss. And I will see you in my next video. Mwah.